how did it work with the two of you? How did that whole collaboration come to play? And were you ever at odds with each other about how to shoot?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're always at odds with the people you work with.
We want the third. We want the third.
Yeah, well, but in a good way. The way I thought we successfully collaborated was the way we discussed before going in. What is this film about? This film is about ghosts and hauntings. So everything that you shoot and everything that you try to get out of what you're shooting as a cinematographer, you're constantly thinking in the back, like you were talking about the deeper, what is the deeper, meaning behind what you're shooting. That's, I think, the key thing you have to get to a cinematographer's brain when you're a director. It's to say, okay, cool, we get along, awesome, but let's talk about the back here, because that's going to metaphorically inform everything you shoot. It makes it much more easy, I think, to shoot that way.
Yeah, and in some ways the thing of the relationship that happens between a director and cinematographer on a shoot is, we, the DPs, are as invested as you are, the directors, and in a certain way you can relax about the fact that, you've got all of these things to worry about, but all we're doing is worrying about how to translate this series of questions that you've given us.
I think it's a hugely important lesson. It was a lesson for me to really understand how important it is to give a DP, once you hire that person, once you choose hopefully the right person, and we all know casting is like 99% of the equation here. Once you choose the right person, is to give them that trust and to give them that leeway to not only shoot, but also to feel what's happening in and around the place without actually shooting.
First of all, I think that it's all about communication. It's all about how much have you prepared, what you're doing, how much do you know about, when you're shooting verite, how much do you know about defining the scene? Whose scene is this? Is this, you have someone coming out of, a meeting in an airport. Is it the people that are waiting that are important, or is it the person coming that's important? Very simple things that you need to clarify. And that's the director's job, to make the DP 100% sure this is what we're trying to do. So I think once you've got that in place, if you have a good cinematographer, everything's on a roll. You can go and drink coffee. Obviously, no, you can't, because you have to see what's going on. And then allowing the two of us and Lars, or whoever, he's not the only one I work with, but the cinematographer, to be almost possessed by the scene. You have to allow reality to possess the process.
The really important level of the work that we do is figuring out what's the story, what's our relationship to people, and that's the kind of work that you need to be thinking about on a primary level. And then the sort of secondary, how does the technical start facilitating those things, is obviously our job. But I feel like, for me, it's like, how do we think about people and stories at the first level?
And the tools change on every job too, because it all depends on the story.
You usually get the question, of probably all of you have got the question, so what other films did you watch? What other films inspired you? What other films, I always get, what other films in Afghanistan did you watch? Oh, very few. I mean, I know, the context of the place, and I know a little bit about other films that have been made, and blah, blah, blah. But when you're talking about preparing a shoot, I think, usually fiction films are much more informative, because they deal with backdrop already. That's what they're good at in fiction.
Yeah, or no films at all. I mean,
or
just
other paintings or life. And I was talking with a guy, a really great filmmaker who passed away, George Hickenlooper, and he said, the last thing I do is watch films. I want to watch life. I want to be part of life. I want to be part of, the world as we know it, and that's where I get those metaphorical shots, those feelings, those emotion.